And if you had to give a percentage chance that this game is postponed, what would you give it?
Oh, a percentage or a fraction? I'd say about 2/3 chance. I'd say about
Oof.
60% chance.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another game week preview. Today is game week 21, although I keep losing track of these numbers because games keep getting postponed. So, it's game week 21. I'm just going to assume it's game week 21 at this point. And today we'll be talking about two really decent games coming up in this game week. So we're not going to touch a Liverpool or Man City game. We're going to look at some more, mid-card matches. We're going to be talking about Crystal Palace versus West Ham and Southampton versus Newcastle. The second of which might get postponed, but hopefully through this video, you will learn why and realize just how screwed Newcastle are for the next few games. So why don't we start with Crystal Palace versus West Ham, Matt?
That sounds like a good idea. I mean, Crystal Palace West Ham, I believe that was your game you went to preview, Jackson. Your Irons. I tried to take this game off him just for context, guys.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
You know what Jackson's like. He had to take the West Ham game. So
yeah. And I know Matt and me are basically stands for Newcastle at this point. So I let Matt take control of that game. So let's start then. Let's start with Crystal Palace versus West Ham United. Now, we don't have any major, neither of these teams in these games have the kind of injury concerns we're going to be talking about with
Newcastle and Southampton. Yeah.
But we do know that West Ham have only had two players get COVID during this whole thing. So I think Antonio and Fornals. Antonio has been back since the game against Southampton, and Fornals is still out. Otherwise, West Ham have major injuries with Ogbonna, Zuma, and Cresswell. But I digress. I'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
COVID thus hasn't affected West Ham too much. Our form has been a bit more chaotic, different causes for our poor form. Crystal Palace have had some COVID issues. So Guaita, Luka Milivojevic, Eze, Benteke, Olise, and Klein have all been out. So they were all out against Spurs for COVID.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, so a couple of those players have come back since. So I know Luka Milivojevic is back and did come off the bench against Norwich in a game in which Crystal Palace won 3-0. So their injury problems aren't so bad, and Zaha's come back from suspension. So in total, I think we're going to see a strong Crystal Palace team come up against West Ham in this game. West Ham are still poor, with our defenders still out of action from injury. Zuma's not coming back till late Jan, early Feb.
Ogbonna as well.
Out for the whole season. So we're not looking so good. So, I mean, what's to say from there? I mean, this is our bogey team, so I'm not looking forward to this match. There's a lot of goals. We draw with them constantly. And this is a game where our defense is really bang average. So Johnson is back, though. So he is back from injury, which means we don't have to play Masuaku at left back. So we have a better team. So
look at just sorry to interrupt you, Jackson. It's 5th place versus 11th place at the time before these games actually occur. So West Ham, they've won 9, drew 4, lost 6 on 31 points. Palace won 5, drew 8, lost 6, and they're on 23 points. I mean, West Ham, they're tying with Man United at the moment with 31 points, and Tottenham's just right in behind at 30 points. So a loss this week could see you guys drop down to 7th. Yeah. And Palace, look, they're they've lost 6 games, but they've drawn 8, so they're really into that, trying to get a goal, trying to secure that draw as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal Palace, like you said, are your bogey team. They come out and they do perform a little bit better against West Ham. But West Ham, obviously, they've got some defensive deficiencies at the moment, but I guess Declan Rice does make up for some of that with his play in the midfield, and a little bit does Thomas Souček as well. But yeah, just thinking about West Ham's deficiencies in the centre back roles. I see Crystal Palace, them being a bogey team like you've previously mentioned to you.
Yeah. I agree with all that. It's this is not really the best time to be facing your bogey team with things as they are. And Vieira's doing a great job with this Palace team, really getting them firing. I think it's like 1.75 XG a game. It's like very decent stuff. They did play Norwich, who's a very easy team, but they quite confidently dispatched Norwich.
It was 3 goals in the first half. Yeah.
Edouard with 2, who I expect Edouard to start in this game as well. So with the players that I think that will be back, I think Guaida's back, so he'll be in goals. We all have their straight up back line, including the Chelsea loanee.
Mark Gui. Yeah.
It'll be their average midfield, Schlopp, Koyate, then Edouard and Zaha up front. I don't think Benteke is going to play in this game. I think it's going to be quite a strong Palace team against the West Ham team that
What about Conor Gallagher, Jackson?
I think he'll be here. So he wasn't against Norwich, but I think he'll be back for this game. So I don't think there's going to be any big names missing out on this one. You mentioned Declan Rice, though. And so I read something on in the West Ham Facebook groups that really rang true on Declan Rice. So this season, Declan Rice has been pushing much further forward. He's still very good defensively, but he makes the runs forward and he attacks. And he scored a few more goals this season. Last season, that was Souček's job. Rice would hang back and Souček would be the one pushing up front. And since Rice has moved into that more forward role, Souček's form has declined.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, I noticed that as well, was particularly that I had Souček in my fantasy team for the first 6-7 rounds, and then after that he started to decline. And I remember you saying to me, Souček's a good pick for fantasy.
Yeah, well, great. I was like, great sure. Last pick. He got almost 10 goals and almost 10 assists in all up last season. Great player. But he had to sit back a little bit more so far because Rice pushed forward. But what we found against Watford, where Rice was suspended, so he wasn't playing, Noble hanged back and Souček pushed forward and he scored in that game and contributed massively to the fact we scored 4 goals in that game. He's a key part of the team, and when he comes into form, the team plays well. So Rice is back for this game against Crystal Palace, and it's interesting whether Moyes is going to say to Rice, I need you to hang back. I need you to go back to playing the way you were last season, hang back, protect the defense, which is worse. We can't afford Rice pushing forward because neither of our first choice centre-backs are available. It's very questionable whether we would even want Rice pushing forward. We just lose too much behind him. So I think the hope is that Moyes learns from his mistakes. He knows we're not defensively the best, so he's going to get Rice to sit back. Johnson's back and he's going to make that defense stronger. And overall, I think we can play a better defensive game than we previously have. I'm slightly optimistic about our chances here. I think a win here puts us a point from Arsenal in 4th.
That's correct.
They have games in hand, but we would do it.
Oh no, they don't have games in hand. They have to play.
But they would play. They would play once week.
So they do have a game in hand, but they play 19 at the moment.
But I think they play Manchester City in that game. So
I believe they do. Yeah, I believe they do.
That's a Saturday night game, so I think our odds of actually coming through are actually pretty good in that one.
I don't know. You never know. Shock defeat of Man City could be big for Arsenal, could be big for Chelsea as well, but never know.
Yeah, we all know about shocking events, shocking refereeing of all things.
I think we both know about that, don't we?
Oh yeah, terrible. It's been bad. So I don't know about Chelsea's game, but West Ham's game, I think, is Michael Oliver is the ref for Crystal Palace West Ham. I'm glad to say that if I go on the Facebook groups, I know there'll be people saying we've got a terrible history with Michael Oliver, but that's for every ref. You always focus on the bad and the good, but we no doubt have been on the end of some really poor refereeing decisions.
You reckon you've been on the bad end with referees?
Definitely.
I'm just going to have a look now to see who's refereeing the Chelsea game. But Anthony Taylor.
Yeah, and Anthony Taylor was for West Ham as well. Yeah.
I don't. It hasn't come up yet of who's refereeing on the EPL app at the moment. But if it's Anthony Taylor, we're going to have a shocker over time. Anthony Taylor was the same referee who when we played Liverpool at the start of the year, and he looked at the VAR for about 2.5 seconds and then gave Reece James a red card.
Yeah.
He's the same referee that whenever we play Manchester United, we always get we always get bullied and physically thrown around, and we don't get any calls any calls for us. I think there was a goal off a corner where a Chelsea player was. It was just a little bit of a push and shove in the box. Nothing over the top. Chelsea ended up scoring, and Anthony Taylor reviewed it and pulled the goal off because of this little bit of a push and shove. Yeah, I can go on for ages.
I don't remember which match it was, but either the denied penalty at Burnley or the red card for Southampton against Arsenal was Anthony Taylor. For West Ham. He's developing a record. It's not great. Premier League refs are being shown up.
Anthony Taylor should not be refereeing another game involving Chelsea Football Club ever again. He should never be. Look, I'm not going to go onto this now. I think we should do. This is just off the top of my head. I think we should do another OT about referees and about the refereeing. But I'll talk to this if we do one in there. But yeah, Anthony Taylor should not be refereeing another Chelsea game.
Yep, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I could agree with that. It's been pretty poor, but hopefully we won't see that this weekend. We can focus more on the football rather than the refereeing. I'm not I mean, you can't predict poor refereeing. It just sort of happens or it doesn't. So assuming the refereeing isn't going to turn against us because Big Six pay referees to like keep us down. I mean, I'm expecting my lineup for West Ham in particular. I talked about my potential lineup for Crystal Palace, but for West Ham, I'm going to stick with Ariola's not going to start. It's going to continue to be Fabianski. So it's going to be Fabianski, Johnson, Diop, Dawson, Soufal at the back, Rice and Souček in the middle. Hopefully Rice hanging back and Souček moving forward. Bowen and Benrahma, the expected ones. Bowen on the right, Benrahma on the left. Bowen and Benrahma played brilliantly against Watford, so they will play, both contributing to
goals.
Yeah, but Bowen definitely got his goal. Benrahma, yeah. Benrahma also got the goal against Southampton, yep.
Yeah.
But Lanzini's going to play. I would have hoped Vlasic would get a chance to start after he scored against Watford, but I think Lanzini will continue. It's the typical decision.
I think Vlasic's goal against Watford was a pass back tap in for Vlasic.
Yeah, but it builds your confidence.
It does build
your first goal.
It does build your confidence, but at the same time, it wasn't an overly good goal. It was, he scored.
No, but his positioning was right. I mean, there are plenty of players who could miss that. I'm guaranteeing you that.
Talking about Ronaldo missing.
I'm talking about Benteke more than anything, but we all make our own comparisons. But yeah, so that's basically how it goes. It should also be remembered, however, that while I am confident about the lineup we could put out there, even with the injuries we have, Palace have only lost once this season at Selhurst Park in the Premier League. So there's all sorts of ways this could go horribly wrong. So on the Aura, I'm going to predict, if Ogbonna and Zuma was here, of course I'd predict the West Ham goal to be a corner. But if West Ham score, I'm predicting it to be a counter-attack from like an attacking, naive Crystal Palace side. I'm going to see Bowen make the run, dribble through, come down the line and cut back to Antonio.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that goes to a 2-2 draw. Same result as we got earlier against the season. I think it's going to be a draw 2-2.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
Sounds good. All right. So moving on to the big game of the week. I guess.
The big game. Yeah.
The controversial game, whether this goes ahead or not, the Southampton and Newcastle game. I mean, take a quick look or a quick overview before we get into it. Southampton 13. They've only won 4 games. They've drew 9, lost 6, are on 21 points. And Newcastle in that 19th spot, second last in relegation. They've only won 1. They've drawn 8. They've lost 10, and they've got 11 points. But the thing with Newcastle is a win this week will bring them out of the relegation zone. But I don't think that's going to be possible.
How many games in hand do the people around them have, though?
Norwich is in 20th. They have the same. Burnley's in 18th, and they've got 3 games in hand. And Watford's got 2 games in hand, and they're 17th.
Leeds would have some games in hand.
Leeds have a game in hand.
Yeah, so there's games in hand there for that to change. But I agree, it's still quite tight. But the situation at Newcastle,
the situation
might prevent them from taking advantage of that.
Yeah, look, so I've looked at a few different sites for injuries, and I've come up with a list of players that are injured, a list that are unavailable, and a list that are questionable as well. So there's a very extensive list for Newcastle. So you got Fernandez with a thigh injury, and he's ruled out till the 22nd of January. You've got Dummett with a calf / shin / heel injury. He's ruled out. And you've also got Lewis with a thigh injury as well that's ruled out until the 15th of January as well. You've got guys that are questionable, and these guys are all illness questionable. So they've got Cruff, Manquillo, St. Maximin, John Joe Shelby, and Callum Wilson. So those are all the guys that are illness related, which would be COVID related.
Actually, it's worth remembering that while Callum is COVID, it's worth remembering that both Callum and St. Maximin went down and had to come off against Manchester United, which was the last game
they played. Yeah.
So it's pretty, it's pretty poor for Newcastle right now to put on top of COVID. They've actually had a whole lot of injuries. Plus, I think Manquillo's suspended.
He's suspended with 5 yellow cards, so he's ruled out till the 15th.
Yeah. So when you think about it, they're probably really close to that 13 players that they need to play for a game to proceed.
Definitely,
they're probably really close, but it's the players they've lost. It's like if Callum and St. Maximin were COVID, right? You wouldn't be too concerned about, in the long term for Newcastle.
No.
But I've seen reports that Callum injury could be a real shocker.
Yeah, look, well, from what I've read, it's they're really concerned about Callum Wilson because he went down with no one around him. There was no tackle. There was nothing there. I think the statement was made 2 days ago, and it said that we're pretty concerned about his injury. We want to make sure we take our time with it because he's gone down with no one around him, so they don't know what factors have influenced it.
I mean, we've been talking mostly about if Newcastle do spend big in January, it's going to be on defenders. That was the situation before. It was that you've got Callum Wilson and St. Maximin. You don't need to worry about your attack. Get your defense sorted.
Yeah.
But with Callum injured and St. Maximin injured, there is no way they can't try and get someone in January. They have to now focus attention away from defenders and onto attackers because it would be a disaster.
True. That's very true because, you look at St. Maximin, he was the sole goal scorer for Newcastle in their 1-1 draw with Man United, which was very shocking, I might add. Very good to see Man United draw to a 19th place team.
Oh yeah.
Anthony, if you're listening to this, but anyway,
he loves it.
Yeah. So their attack. If all these guys are healthy, so St. Maximin's healthy, you got Wilson healthy, you got Joe Willock, and you got Joel Linton. I think their attack is good enough to keep them in that lower half of the Premier League, not in the relegation zone, but that lower echelon of the Premier League. It's the defense that's killing them. I mean, they've conceded 42 goals this season, on par with Norwich City, and they've only scored 19. Granted, most teams have scored around that 20-ish, 23-ish mark, the average. So they're not bad where the average is about scoring, but defending, they are dead last, tied with Norwich in defense, in goals conceded.
But the goals would be far worse if the goals they've scored would be far worse if you take out Callum Wilson and St. Maximin, it becomes disastrous.
You take out Callum Wilson, you take out St. Maximin. Joe Linton hasn't really been firing that much this season. I mean, he has slightly come to form in the last couple of games, and Joe Willock, he doesn't. He gets on the score sheet from time to time with goals, but it's always Wilson and St. Maximin the main two that are getting those goals for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you, with these two out, we can expect their goals to decline. And I honestly, I don't expect them to score this game. I don't expect them to score.
You don't see hope for Newcastle in this game, really. This is just, if it goes ahead, it's a Southampton win.
Yeah, if it goes ahead, it's a Southampton win. I think if Newcastle do score, I think maybe Joel Linton might get on the score sheet just because of he's their striker that's semi into form at the moment. But other than that, I don't really see them. Or maybe a header from a set piece by Lascelles or Clark. There's not really much there. There's not really much that Newcastle have of attacking prowess.
Yeah,
like you said, with Maximin and Wilson out. But then we look to Southampton. Now, Southampton they've got 4 unavailabilities from what I've been able to research. So they also had a decently extensive list from one website that I've seen. And then I've compared that to another website to have a look what's going on because, sometimes can be unreliable, this, that, and the other. So unavailability, we've got Lacano, who's isolating, and we've also got Stevens, who's isolating. We've got McCarthy, who's injured, and we've got Gependo, who's on international duty. And then Tella is also questionable. His fitness is questionable. I did see that Silasu was going to be suspended until the 15th for 2 yellow cards, but I'm not sure how accurate that is. And
I've also heard that he's been suspended.
And I also heard that Kyle Walker-Peters was suspended for 5 yellow cards, and he was ruled out until the 8th of January. But I'm not sure how accurate that is either.
I've heard Walker-Peters is out with injury. But on the Salisu, so Salisu got 2 yellows against Tottenham.
Yeah, that was
and their 1-1 draw. I haven't heard anything about that not being deserved from the authorities. So I don't think they've appealed that decision. So that seems to be sticking for now.
Yeah.
The other one to mention is Livramento could be a doubt with a knee concern.
That's what I was getting to.
Could play.
Yeah. He could play. He could play. I think it said it's about for the website I was looking at said he was currently being assessed. He's a 25% chance of playing, but when I've looked at predicted lineups, they've got Livramento in that lineup as well. So that, I mean, it's sort of a player they have to have.
Predicting, So
people have also predicted, which is I find weird. They've got Silasu and they've got Kyle Walker-Peters in this predicted lineup as well.
Yeah, so it might have appealed. But
if
we assume that these are the only concerns they have, and these players won't be playing, that's a pretty significant chunk of their first team backline. Salas's key, Livramento's key, Walker-Peters' key.
Yeah.
But if they're there, then it's fine. Like Southampton don't have a great team, but they're just putting together some form by being defensively solid. If they didn't have these players, though, we would be concerned. If any other team other than Newcastle were coming up against them with those players gone, it would be...
I'd be worried about them, yeah.
But with Newcastle's main forwards out, I think like Southampton are going to get very lucky. I think that Southampton can still score. Like Brozier, could easily score a goal in this game. Like really take it there. Their flop from the championship, Adam Armstrong. I don't see him being the one to score any. Sorry, Linus, it's not on. But
hey, don't disrespect my Blackburn Rover boys.
Oh yeah. But Brozier will score. He's a Chelsea loanee. I'm pretty sure he will score. He's a good player. They really rate him at Southampton. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely a game with a lot more injuries. But the thing is, you could postpone this game. Like, it's absolutely possible that this game could be postponed. But
definitely,
Newcastle need to start playing.
They need to start winning games, or even just drawing games.
Not even that. If you take too much time, you just keep postponing games. The players you can play won't be fit, and that's probably like you just can't keep postponing games because you can. You just need to go for it. And maybe the Southampton team, if these injuries are accurate, this isn't a bad opportunity to just play a game, get whoever you can out there and see if you can get a result. Because if you don't, players will get unfit. You'll lose your mojo. There's no preseason to get you back up to speed.
Yeah, it's straight into it.
You're straight into it. And in this tight relegation battle, I don't know if they can afford the wait.
That's it. And definitely, I know other athletes will agree with me as well. Being training fit and being match fit are two different things.
Yeah.
Being fit for training sessions and being fit to actually play a game is completely different. You can do all the training you want, but at the end of the day, as soon as you step on the pitch or on the court or on the field to play that game,
it's in a relegation battle, you also got to think, right, with their injuries, which are, and the COVID ones will get better soon, but the injuries will stick probably for a little longer. The more games you postpone, the more hectic your schedule towards the end of the season is going to be. We don't know how they're going to throw these games in, these postponed games into the back end of the season, but it could get really hectic. And in a relegation battle, you don't want to be the one who has to have a sudden midweek game every week because you postponed a bunch of games earlier, of which you could have played. If Newcastle are able to play against Southampton and they have the 13 players to do it,
should go ahead.
They need to start doing it.
It should go ahead.
Yeah, and the only lucky thing for them is that teams have games in hand, sure, but I mean, Burnley's are all against big sides, so I don't see Burnley really using their games in hand to run away. Leeds will play Burnley. That'll be a big one that might get one of those teams away from the relegation zone.
Watford
but right now, Newcastle just need to play.
Yeah, that's correct. So let's move to the predicted lineup. So I've looked at a couple of predicted lineups, and all these lineups had Salasu and Walker Peters playing. So my lineup will be based on the contingency that they are playing, but there is the possibility that they are ruled out. So Southampton, we got Foster in goals, Livramento, Bredenak, Salasu, Walker Peters, Redmond, Ward Prowse, Romelu, Armstrong, Adams, and Brozier. So that's my Southampton lineup. And for this lineup, I do see Brozier scoring. I do see Southampton on, let's say, a counter attack from Newcastle, making a midfield error. I think Che Adams is going to pick up the ball, pick up the ball from the halfway, bring it down. I'd say about 15 yards or so. Give it out to Brozier on the wing. He's going to cut in and have a shot at goal. And I also see a free kick goal from James Ward-Prowse just outside the box for Southampton. Let's move on to the Newcastle team right now. So we've got Dubravka in goal. Their long-serving goalkeeper. Murphy, Lascelles, Clark, and Ritchie. Almiron, Willock, Hayden, and then we got Fraser, Gale, and Joel Linton in their lineup.
Willock, you've thrown Willock into that.
I've thrown Willock. Yeah, I've thrown Willock into that one.
Do you think he's going to be free for this game at that point?
With the amount of injuries and stuff they have, I'm honestly not sure. I'm honestly not sure of who they're going to play. So this is
we don't have a timetable for most of these players coming back. To be fair, but prediction. If those two lineups go head to head.
Prediction. I want to say Newcastle are going to get a lucky goal here and there. So I will say it's going to be a 2-1 win to Southampton. But I could well and truly and possibly see Newcastle not scoring in this game.
And if you had to give a percentage chance that this game is postponed, what would you give it?
Oh, a percentage or a fraction? I'd say about 2/3 chance. I'd say about 60% chance.
That's what
it might get postponed.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. That's a pretty rough odds. So if you're a Newcastle fan, look away.
Technically 2/3 is 66.6. But 60%.
Some Newcastle fans might be looking forward to it being postponed with their injuries, but you got to play. You've got to play, guys. You can't keep postponing. They're not going to go, well, we won't relegate you because you had games postponed. No, you're going to have to play them eventually.
Exactly. But if the season finishes and you're in the bottom three, it doesn't matter how many games you play, you're going down.
Maybe their hope is that they bring in enough January transfers to mean they win the postponed games, but I don't think they're going to get that kind of talent. I think they're only spending 40-50 million in January, and
who knows, they might
think if Tarkovsky would be 25-30.
They might get Tarkovsky, they might get Jesse Messi, and that might bring them up out of the relegation.
No, he's not interested. I'm pretty certain of that now. If the media, he seems uninterested in the move to Newcastle. I don't know what he's doing. The media seems to be hyping up that he's fallen in love with Man United again, which why? I don't know. I'm very confused by that state of affairs.
Who knows? Ousmane Dembele might be coming to
I will love that. I will enjoy that. I will enjoy him walking away from Newcastle with millions for doing
being injured every week.
Yeah. Well, there you go, guys. Those are our two previews for this coming game week. I hope you enjoy. We know there's some big games going on: Arsenal versus Man City,
Chelsea,
Liverpool. But we decided to take a look at some of the entry level games coming in and look at some of what's going on in other games. Deal with some different teams. We love to analyze and delve into different lineups than the typical big six lineup. So that's what we did today, and we hope you enjoy and let us know how well we did. All right, guys. Cheers.
All right, catch ya.